Thank you so much, Alana, for welcoming me into your home and sharing your story.
Next up, aspects of mental illness are frequent themes used, even exploited, in video games. Goose takes a closer look.
Throughout history, there's been an undeniable intrigue concerning mental illness and those that it affects. Whether they're revered for having a link to worlds beyond our own comprehension, or more often ostracised for their differences, those suffering mental illness, both in history and fiction, have carried with them an equal amount of interest and stigma. Analysing the psychological state of the characters in our games can add poignancy and drive narratives.
That was my downfall.
However, as many examples have also shown, mental illness is often relied on as validation for negative behaviours and extravagant antagonists. Some would argue such games are exploitative, while others might see them as an interesting way to explore the human psyche. In the first Borderlands, the enemies were escaped convicts and madmen, and were clearly just absurd pantomime villains there for the blasting. However, Borderlands 2 introduced Tiny Tina, a character labelled by many as problematic.
Goes the bandit.
There were those who questioned whether it was appropriate for a 13-year-old girl traumatised by the murder of her parents to be presented as an entertaining side character.
Child's play. Let me introduce you to my lady.
The Batman franchise is famous for its roster of villains that each encapsulate different elements of psychological illness, emphasised by their imprisonment within an asylum. And while these bold icons appear to almost transcend their afflictions through wild characterisation, it's always based on a realistic aspect of mental illness, be it depression, delusion, or multiple personalities.
Heads or tails, kitty cat.
American McGee's Alice and its sequel Madness Returns both endeavoured to highlight the instability of Alice through the setting itself. A literal journey inside her fractured mind, the world of Wonderland is a dark, twisted manifestation of torment and loss. It also highlights an overused device in many horror games, with crazed or insane enemy types used to provoke fear through their lack of connection to humanity and unpredictable nature. This rather shallow approach to mental illness is unfortunately common in games, with it often used as an excuse for acts of outrageous violence.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is?
For example, the character of Vass in Far Cry 3 uses the awareness of his unstable state of mind as a form of intimidation. The result is a memorable caricature of ultra-violence, but one who ultimately has no depth beyond his villainous rants. In contrast, a game like Spec Ops: The Line spends far more time exploring the backstory and nature of its characters.
We need to keep moving.
What? Because of this, we can somewhat rationalise the brutal acts that are taking place in the game, as well as the unsettling effects they have on the main character's mental health.
Judge these men, or pay the price of insubordination.
One of the most interesting examples of a game using mental health as a mechanic is in the original Kane and Lynch, where during co-op, the player controlling Lynch can enter a rage-like state, changing their perception of innocent civilians to that of police officers, creating paranoia and confusion as a result.
Don't be so f***ing quiet!
Lynch, cut it out! Relax, just take a deep breath.
On the surface, it's a clever trick to add to the psychotic atmosphere, but what it's really providing is an abrupt and unexpected connection to a very unstable character.
How many did I kill? More than you want to know. Damn it!
And it's these connections that more and more games are trying to make. Games such as Ether 1 or Papa and Yo bury their complex and less relatable issues such as dementia or alcoholism under layers of relatable gameplay. Doing this allows players to gradually unearth deeper issues themselves and create a better overall understanding than if it had all just been explained to them outright. Even more abstract titles, such as the browser-based Loneliness, strip back all but bare pixels to demonstrate that issues such as depression and anxiety are universal and can be experienced by everyone, even a dot. An ideal shared by the creator of Elude, who designed the abstract depression platformer with the intention to enhance friends' and relatives' understanding of what their loved ones are going through. But while these games, and many others just like them, are designed to simulate what it might be like to suffer such incomprehensible illnesses, there are others being designed with the goal of alleviating and possibly even curing these same conditions. The University of Dublin has been experimenting with using custom video games to teach the key principles of cognitive behaviour therapy to youngsters undergoing treatment. The upcoming adventure game Nevermind from Flying Mollusk seeks to make ambitious use of biofeedback technology.
The idea being that by making players more aware of when they're becoming stressed, they can gain greater self-control and composure.
This gamification of mental health therapy has even found its way onto smartphones, with numerous games that aim to reduce anxiety through attention bias modification training.
These concepts, along with more games that choose to seriously address mental health in our world and the worlds of our games, are positive steps on a long road towards a better understanding of our mysterious minds.